But it's kind of crazy how much we depend on the power grid until, until it's not there anymore.
Yeah, it really is.
So today we're going to dive deep into this whole world of power grid failures and what can we do? What are some practical things we can do to be prepared?
Right.
And our guide for this journey is power grid failure, essential preparedness.
Okay, great.
What's fascinating to me is how our world is getting more and more interconnected, right? Everything's online.
Right.
But the systems that power it all, like the actual physical systems, are kind of fragile.
Well, that's what's so fascinating is that, we are becoming increasingly interconnected.
Yeah.
But the irony is that the systems that are actually powering our world
Yeah.
are surprisingly fragile.
Yeah.
It's almost like building a house of cards.
Oh, wow.
On a shaky table.
Okay, that's a visual
Yeah.
I won't soon forget.
Right.
So what are some of the biggest threats to the grid that we should be aware of? What should we be thinking about?
Well, we've got the usual suspects that people talk about a lot.
Okay.
Climate change, of course, is leading to more and more extreme weather events.
Right.
We have aging infrastructure that's just not keeping up with the demand.
Yeah.
And then, of course, natural disasters that can just knock out power lines in an instant.
Yeah.
But the threat that keeps me up at night,
Oh, really?
cyber attacks.
Huh.
So just imagine a coordinated attack targeting multiple points in the grid simultaneously.
Oh, gosh.
The potential for disruption is enormous.
That's a chilling thought. And speaking of chilling, I can't help but think of the Texas winter storm back in 2021.
Right.
Millions of people without power for days on end. And it wasn't even a hurricane.
Right.
So could that happen anywhere?
Absolutely it can. And actually, Texas's grid is relatively isolated,
Oh, really?
which actually made the situation worse in that case.
Wow.
But the key takeaway there is that these cascading failures can happen anywhere. One part of the system goes down and it triggers this domino effect.
Oh,
It's a stark reminder that even developed nations are vulnerable to this.
yeah, that's a good point. So it's not a matter of if the power goes out, it's when.
Exactly.
So let's talk about that oh no moment.
Yeah.
You realize I need power and it's gone.
Yeah.
What are our options at that point?
Yeah. So let's talk about building what I like to call a power toolkit.
Okay.
Portable generators are a popular choice for a lot of people.
Right.
They're great for running those essential appliances, but you need to know how to use them safely.
Yeah.
And, of course, understand their fuel requirements.
You don't want to be running a gas-powered generator in an enclosed space or something.
Exactly, yeah. Safety first.
Right. What about something quieter and maybe a little more environmentally friendly?
Yeah. Well, battery backup systems are a fantastic option.
Okay.
They're silent, don't emit any fumes,
Right.
and they can power smaller electronics and even appliances for hours.
Okay.
And then for those who are looking for a more long-term sustainable solution, solar power is becoming increasingly accessible. Yeah.
And affordable these days?
It's like having your own personal power plant.
That's right.
But, okay, let's say the power goes out right now.
Uh-huh.
What are the must-dos on our emergency checklist?
Okay, well, first and foremost, communication.
Okay.
A battery-powered or hand-crank radio is going to be your lifeline to the outside world.
Okay.
Keep those mobile power banks fully charged for your phone.
Yep.
And don't forget a stash of extra batteries for flashlights and other devices.
Staying connected and informed, that's key.
It is.
So what about those essentials, like keeping the fridge running or even powering medical devices?
Yeah, well, you have to prioritize.
Okay.
Decide which electrical devices are absolutely critical for you and your family.
Yeah.
And if you rely on medical equipment,
Yeah.
explore options for manual operation or alternative power sources.
So it's like creating a hierarchy of needs for your appliances.
Exactly.
We've got communication, we've got emergency power. What about the non-electric essentials?
Ah, the beauty of going old school.
Candles and oil lamps provide light.
Right.
Camp stoves can be used for cooking.
Uh-huh.
And a good old-fashioned hand-crank fan can keep you cool.
That's right. It's amazing how resourceful we can be when we need to be.
It really is.
But something that really struck me in the guide was the emphasis on medical and health preparedness.
Yeah, that's something that's often overlooked.
Yeah.
If you rely on medication, ensure you have an adequate supply on hand.
Okay.
And a well-stocked first aid kit is essential
Right.
for any emergency power outage or not.
Good point. Good point. So thinking beyond electricity now, what are some other key preparedness strategies that we should be thinking about?
Well, food and water are paramount.
Okay.
Stock up on those non-perishable food items.
Yeah.
And have at least 1 gallon of water per person per day.
Okay, 1 gallon per person per day.
At least that's the recommendation.
Okay.
Also think about information access.
Uh-huh.
Keep physical maps and emergency contact lists
Right,
handy.
because the internet might be down.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so important. And don't forget to create a family communication plan, right?
Oh, that's a great point.
Decide on meeting places and ways to get in touch if you're separated.
Yes, absolutely. And also remember the power of cash.
Okay.
ATMs and card readers might be down,
Oh, right. Yeah.
so keep some emergency cash on hand.
Cash is king during a power outage.
It really is.
And I'm guessing warm clothing and blankets are pretty essential too, especially for those of us in colder climates.
Absolutely.
So we talked about the physical stuff,
Right.
but let's shift gears for a minute
Okay.
and talk about a really, I think, an often neglected aspect of preparedness, and that is the psychological resilience side of things.
Yeah.
So here's where it gets interesting. We're talking mindset now.
Right.
What's the mental game plan for a power outage?
Well, power outages can be stressful
Yeah,
and even frightening for some people.
for sure.
Staying calm, having a plan,
Right.
and maintaining a positive, adaptable mindset can make a world of difference.
So it's not just about having the supplies. It's about being mentally prepared
Exactly.
to handle the unexpected.
Yeah, and it's not just about individual preparedness.
Okay.
Building community resilience is equally important.
Okay, so what does community resilience look like in action?
It means getting involved in your community,
Okay.
participating in local emergency preparedness programs,
Uh-huh.
familiarize yourself with your utility company's emergency response plan,
Okay.
and most importantly, connect with your neighbors.
Yeah.
Create a support network where people can rely on each other.
It takes a village, right?
It really does.
So if we had to distill this entire deep dive into one key takeaway, what would it be?
Power grid vulnerabilities are a reality of our modern world,
Yeah.
but preparation is empowerment.
Like that.
By taking proactive steps, you can navigate these challenges with confidence and resilience.
I love it. So to our listeners, we leave you with this thought. Don't wait for the lights to go out.
Right.
Start preparing today.
Yes.
Research local resources, create a personalized preparedness plan, and take those first steps towards greater resilience. You'll be glad you did.
Absolutely.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
We'll catch you next time.